We were married 21 years ago by the justice of the peace. Was it wrong? Yes. It was wrong for you to do that. Marriage belongs in the house of God. But being that you are married, here's when you're really married. You're married when you vow one to the other. When you promise one another that you'll take one another. The justice of peace could give you license. That's legal terms of living together as husband and wife without being common law husband and wife. But when you promise this girl, and you promise that man that you'll live true to him and you take him to be your husband, you're married then. Remember I explained that last week, I believe it was. See, when you promise her, see, even in the old Bible, if a man was betrothed to a maid, and you know the laws on that, it was just the same as an adultery. Certainly was. When he promised, that was it. The question is asked the other day, was annulment the same as a divorce? See, when you ask me those questions, friends, you don't know what that does to me. I've got many friends sitting here married 2 or 3 times. Did you realize I'm talking to my own son? Billy Paul? But did I spare Billy Paul? No, indeed. Billy Paul got married to some little girl, and he came up and said, Daddy, I'm going to get married. I was washing my car. I said, butt your head against the wall. Just kept on washing my car like that. He said, I'm going to get married. I said, oh, go on. Just kept on like that. He goes around and tells his mother, and his mother laughed at him. You know what he done? Run off with some little kid still in common school and got married. We annulled the wedding, the father of the girl and myself. We annulled the wedding. But he was married just the same. He's my boy sitting here listening at me now. That's exactly. He come to me with the girl he lives with now. My daughter-in-law, my little grandson. He said, Daddy, will you marry me? I said, by no means. That's my own son. You think that don't cut me to the core? And I packed him in my arms and done everything I could do, and I've been both father and mother to him. You think that don't kill me to say that? But it's the truth. Certainly. My boy sitting here listening at my daughter-in-law and my little grandson. Sitting right here now, but I'll tell him it's wrong. See? Because I've got to. I'm duty-bound to that word. And I say you got married by a magistrate, you should have been married by the church, by the minister. That's a decent thing to do for a Christian. But being that you have already made that promise and vow and been married 21 years ago, I think it's all right. You say, well, the question might be, should I come and be married again? If you wish to. Don't have nothing in your mind that bothers your faith, because if anything's there, you can't go no further than right there. You stop right there when that question mark comes. That's where you end. Right there. But for me, it would be all right. The man that baptized me in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ finally run me out of church because I wouldn't agree with him on women preachers. That didn't make me be rebaptized again. See? Surely not. That's all right. But just remember, these things are cutting to me. I got bosom friends sitting here, men and women, that would take their leather, pull an eye out and give it to me if I'd ask them for it. Yes, sir. And they're married twice, sometimes 3 times. Sitting right here now. And my own boy, my own grandson, and my daughter-in-law. I love, look at Billy, how I stood by him and how he stood by me. But to say truth or truth, it's truth. Sister dear, brother dear, one time a salesman tell me, he walked into a church as Christian up in Connecticut or somewhere up there. He was a Pentecostal, but he went in there to pray and said, when he got in there and knelt down the church to pray, he says, riding along, he's tired, kind of homesick, he's a salesman, he's selling stuff. And said to factories, and he went in there to make some buys or something. Then he come by the church and thought, I'll go and pray. The doors open. Said he went in, didn't hear nobody. So he knelt down and started praying. After he's praying, there, said about an hour. Said directly he heard some doors slam or something. He thought it was a custodian or something in the church. Said after a while he noticed, he heard somebody talking. He stepped up there and looked around to see what it was, custodian. It was a man and woman standing before the altar holding one another's hands. He said, I take you, dear, to be my lawful wedded wife, see. She said, I take you, dear, to be my lawful wedded husband. Well, he said, this is a strange thing. He said, this Pentecostal, he said, this man and woman getting married without a preacher. And so he just sat down and waited. And after they made their vows and lived true to one another, only death would separate them. They put their arms around one another, kissed each other, turned around, walked out smiling. He said, just a moment. He said, I'm kind of curious. I'm a stranger. He said, y'all get married? I said, yes. Without a preacher? He said, no. I said, we've been married 40 years. He said, we got married right here at this altar 40 years ago, and every year we come back and renew our vows. That's a good idea. See? But as far as marriage, when you promise her, she takes your word, you take her word, and God takes both your word. See?
But in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God should be finished, as he hath declared to his servants the prophets.